So we'll start again.
Excellent. Let's start again.
Musical Talk, the UK independent musical theatre podcast.
So we've got a very special guest today. He is a performer, dancer, singer, actor, director, choreographer, star of stage and screen. It's the one and only Adam Cooper, everybody. How are you, mate?
I'm all right. Yes, pretty good, thanks.
So this is take two. We tried before, but modern technology let us down.
Yes, indeed.
These things happen. So yeah, how have you been? What's going on?
Well, I've been all right. I've in the middle of a run of Singing in the Rain at the moment.
Fantastic.
We're at Sadler's Wells Theatre until September the 5th, and yeah, having a brilliant time. The show is going really well, and what has been amazing is the sort of emotional response from the audience at being able to be back in a theatre and seeing. You know, I mean, Singing in the Rain is the sort of one of the most perfect shows to see at the moment, because it's just so full of joy and laughter and, you know, brilliant music. And people are just coming out, loving it. And it's so amazing to see that kind of really deep emotional feeling that people have for going to the theatre, because you kind of forget, you know, just how much it means to people. And after the last sort of 18 months we've all had, you know, people are just desperate to get back to seeing shows again. And it's been wonderful. We've got Kevin Clifton from Strictly with us playing Cosmo. We've got Faye Tozer from Steps playing Lena, and the brilliant Charlotte Gooch playing Kathy. So it's a really good cast. And
Charlotte did what's it? Top Hat with my to be wife. She would be my wife on Sunday. They did it, and the UK tour them out to Japan. So she's just a marvel, isn't she? What legs are gone forever.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean she's a proper triple threat. You know, she's the most, you know, amazing dancer to work with. Mm-hmm. But she's got a gorgeous voice, and her acting is brilliant as well. And she's sort of, it's been great actually, because it's doing it with her this time has sort of brought out something new in me, because obviously you're affected hugely by who's opposite you. And integral to the story of singing is the relationships between Don and Kathy and Don and Cosmo. And actually both of them have brought something very new out in me, which is great, because I mean I've been doing this production on and off for 10 years. So it's nice to sort of, for it to feel fresh, you know, because it's hard when you've done like 600 shows or something to keep it fresh. But actually, you know, when you've got really top-notch performers like that working with you, it's easy, you know.
Yeah, I mean, that amazing picture of you outside, was it the Palace Theatre with just a massive poster of, well, I can't even describe it. It's just you outside the front of the theatre. That was an amazing thing to see every day, walk past every day.
I mean, it was one of those sort of pinch me moments, I guess, you know, seeing a cardboard cutout of me above something I thought I'd never see.
I definitely have one in my room, definitely.
I've nicked it. I've got it now. But and also, you know, the Palace is it's such a geographically, it's such a great place, being on that crossing and stuff. And of course now they've got that small show called Harry Potter there. So,
I never heard of it. How do you approach a part, you know, as iconic as yours? I mean, obviously played by Gene Kelly in the movie. I mean, you know, with such big shoes to fill, I know you've got really big shoes anyway. You're, you know, such a fantastic performer. But how do you approach a part like this?
I think when I first did it, I decided not to watch the film because I didn't want to be influenced by Gene Kelly. I mean, obviously, I've seen the film loads of times, but I hadn't sort of, you know, that recently. so I decided to treat it like I would treat any other role, really, which is find my own way of playing that character and you know, finding my inner movie star. And I mean, it's quite interesting actually, because especially this time we've done it. You know, there's a lot of stuff in this, not just in the script, but in stage direction and stuff, which you couldn't do these days. You have to be very careful about the way you portray. And Don can come across as a bit of a Hollywood slimeball,
right?
And so this time we were very aware of that because of the whole Me Too thing and him being alone with, you know, a girl and sort of, you know, being a bit smarmy and so you have to sort of look at it. Obviously, you're doing homage to the movie, to that period, but you have to sort of play it for now. Really, it helps because it keeps it fresh. It keeps it very different from when the first time we did it 10 years ago. And as for the dance routines, well, because the sort of, especially the Gene Kelly Singing in the Rain number, Moses Supposes with Donald O'Connor, Good Morning, they're such iconic numbers.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what I think Andrew, the choreographer, did really well was he sort of did them new, but with a slight nod to the movie, but they're very of this production. For example, the Singing in the Rain number is nothing like Gene Kelly's in terms of choreography, apart from the fact it's raining and there's quite a lot of splashing that goes on, and there's a policeman and a lamppost. That's about it, really. The rest of it is all kind of new. So, and I think that really helps because it feels like we've got ownership over this version of Singing in the Rain, which we wouldn't have. I know some productions. There was a production in Germany, I think, where they actually did pretty much the choreography from the movie, and I think that's tricky because then you're obviously going to be compared to that.
It's
more. Whereas this is our version of Singing in the Rain rather than doing the movie on stage.
Oh, it is fab. It's such a fabulous play. I mean, as I said, I saw it at the Palace, just fabulous. And I think the raw variety that you did with Robert Scott was at the end. I think Peter Kay, if I recall, introduced you, did he not?
He did indeed, with a spinning umbrella on his head. Yeah,
that's right. I mean, I think that was the highlight of the raw variety that year. I'm sure I'm going to find it on YouTube and put it on our Facebook page. Just so
it was certainly one of the highlights of my career. That's for sure. Being introduced by Peter Kay at the Lowry, that was pretty good. And funnily enough, I almost ruined the entire raw variety because we did a dress run in the afternoon. Was it in the afternoon or the night before? I can't remember. Maybe it was the night before. And I was closing the first half because of all the rain, obviously. And they built this, they spent some money on it. They built this whole special trough, to do it in so that the rest of the stage wouldn't get too wet. No. But they had these like LED screens all the way around the stage.
Right.
And nobody sort of said to me, oh, by the way, don't splash at the LED screens. So I just did my normal thing and water's flying everywhere. And I think I wiped out the entire lighting system.
Wow.
Yeah. So somebody came up to me after the dress and said, excuse me, Adam, do you think when you start splashing, you can sort of direct it away from the stage, not at the stage, because we almost didn't have a show because of you.
Oh, wow. Could you imagine? Oh, dear me. That's really funny.
Yeah, but that was fun. That was fun. That was actually while we were doing White Christmas.
White Christmas,
I got shows off to do it, yeah.
We had you on the podcast, I think that year, or maybe the year before. I don't know if you remember this. This was when we were in White Christmas at the Lowry.
That was 2009 or something.
Yeah. So it must have been a couple of years before. Yeah, we did an interview with yourself and who else was everyone that was anyone in the show. We had you remember it was me and Andrew Corcoran interviewed all the leads, and we had you in the. I only actually remembered that this morning. And I thought, oh, he's been on before, isn't he? I thought so. The audience.
I don't remember it actually. That's
it was a long time ago. Let's briefly talk about your career is just unbelievable. I mean, I was reading your Wikipedia page just this morning, just to sort of
right?
Just to remind me of everything.
Have they got it right yet?
Probably not. No, you'd have to go on and do it yourself, I think. But some amazing stuff. I mean, some incredible parts you've played over the years, and not just, of course, as in musical theatre. You've been in film, you've been done television, and of course the dancing as well, the Royal Ballet. And I know, you know, as a principal dancer, you were one of the greatest dancers we've ever had in this country, in my opinion. I mean, I remember seeing you in Matthew Bourne's productions. I mean, sensational, absolutely sensational. How, you know, what inspired you to sort of get into the industry and start with what you did?
Well, my brother and I were into dance from quite an early age. We were actually inspired by watching Fred Astaire and Gene Kelly on TV. That's kind of what's got us into dancing, and that's kind of weird now that I'm sort of doing Gene Kelly every night, as it were. But yeah, and so we started doing tap dancing when we were, I don't know, 6 and 7, something like that.
Yeah.
And then we had a really good teacher who suggested that we do ballet as well, because she saw that we had kind of a talent there, you know.
Yeah.
And then we both went on to go to professional dance school at the age of 11. We went to Arts Ed in London. So we were sort of doing full-time training from the age of 11.
Yeah.
And I loved every aspect of it. You know, I loved all the different types of dance, the singing, the drama, playing instruments, everything. And so I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and probably until I got a job. I went to the Royal at 16, but only because my brother had gone there.
Right.
Really.
Okay.
I was sort of followed him everywhere he went, which kind of threw up a bit of competition and
healthy rivalry.
Yeah, there was quite a lot of rivalry there. But after doing 2 years at the Royal, at the school, I got offered a job in the company, and much to my surprise, actually, because I'd sort of been told that I wasn't really ballet material, you know, by the Russian teacher that I had there, and so I was kind of expecting not to. So it was a bit of a surprise. Yeah. But when I got there, I found that I was enjoying it. I loved the challenge. I always felt a little bit like an imposter, which is probably why I didn't stay too long there, because I always felt that there was more to what I could give than just ballet.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you're a song and dance man, aren't you? Let's face it.
Yeah, I mean, basically that's how I started, and the fact that I did ballet was kind of an added bonus, I suppose. So after being with the Royal for a few years, I was looking for other stuff to do. And then Matthew Bourne approached me to do his production of Swan Lake, which when we first started it, Matthew's company was quite small. So it felt like a bit of a risk to do it. But even before we opened it, it had become this massive talking point. It was all over the press. You know, they'd invited some of the press in to watch some rehearsals, and the kind of reaction we were getting was quite unprecedented. And it just became this juggernaut and turned into this kind of phenomenon that everybody wanted to see. Oh yeah. And I remember our first run of it was at Sadler's Wells, where I am now, but at the Old Theatre, and there were queues around the block. I'd never seen that for a dance production before. I mean, every day there were queues around the block, people queuing to get tickets. And I think that was the point where you suddenly went, "Oh, I think we're onto something here."
Yeah. I mean, it was an incredible performance. I remember seeing it. I remember so vividly. My dad took me, and it was incredible, absolutely incredible performance. And of course, then it was featured in a very quite a small film, should we say? I think I think a lot of audience members will really know you from, of course, playing the adult Billy Elliot, which you when you performed as the Swan, the Stranger / Swan. I don't know if that's the correct terminology for the part, but
yeah, absolutely.
An amazing there must have been a real highlight for your career.
Well, it's weird because it's at the time, again, they were like, oh, we're doing this little film, nobody's ever going to see it, but we'd really like Billy Elliot to be the Swan at the end. What do you think? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. Again, thinking nothing much was going to become of it. And then it opened and was another phenomenal success.
Yeah.
And rightly so, because the film is, I mean, my part in it is like, you know, blink and you miss me. But
it's such because it's the finale of the piece. It's such an important moment in the film.
Absolutely. But I mean, the cast were fantastic. Janie Bell and Julie Walters. And I mean, such a strong cast and just a brilliant story. And I think, I mean, one of the sort of, I suppose, proudest things about my career is the amount of boys that have started dancing after seeing either Swan Lake or from seeing Billy Elliot. And I think that is one of the things that makes me, you know, glad that I got into this business, because if you can inspire other people to do what you love and what you've been lucky enough to do, it's incredible. And that film, it's become a kind of iconic classic, and it's on TV. You know, the amount of messages I get on Instagram. Oh, I've just seen you in Billy Elliot. Or are you the male Billy, the old Billy Elliot, and all that stuff. Oh, it's lovely. And the fact that some, 30 seconds of my career, I'm known more for than all the kind of
all the amazing things, all the musical. I mean, we could list the musicals alone. You know, Wizard of Oz and On Your Toes and all these big shows, and everyone goes, "Oh, it's the adult Billy." I remember that's every Christmas when it's on. My mum texts me and says, "Oh, Adam's on the telly again." She gets so excited. I don't know if you remember, we were having a curry one night in Sunderland, and you were sat opposite my mother, and the penny dropped.
Oh God, yes.
The penny dropped. She didn't realise who you were. Like, she knew who you were. She'd seen the show, but she went, oh, and I could just see her, the moment when she went, oh, you're in Billy Elliot, because it's one of her favourite films.
Oh, brilliant. I remember that curry very well.
Yeah, it was a good evening.
It was. It was a very good evening.
Oh, it's lovely. So, I mean, we can wrap things up now. I mean, I don't want to keep you too long because I know you've got a show this evening, 2 shows tomorrow. We could sit and talk about all of these other musicals you've been. I mean, The Tin Man, that must have been fun, mustn't it?
It was great fun. It was, again, something that I never thought I'd ever do. But when the call came in, I thought, that would be great. And also Nick Winston, who was choreographing it, he wanted to do a nice tap number for me. Fantastic. So it was great. I really enjoyed it. And again, we had a really good cast. Again, we had Sian Brooke, who's now on TV all the time, as Dorothy. She was brilliant. And then we had Gary Wilmot and Hilton McRae. Roy Hudd was the wizard.
Oh, amazing.
Who sadly died now. But
bless him.
Yeah, some great people to have worked with and wonderful. But I mean, the one musical moment for me, actually, that sticks out, other than everything else that I've done, is doing Guys and Dolls in London.
Yeah, that must have been amazing.
Especially when Patrick Swayze joined the cast.
Because you had a couple of famous people in that, didn't you? Who else was in it? I can't remember now.
I had Neil Morrissey.
Neil Morrissey, that was it. Because I saw you in it. It was a wonderful show. How was it to work on Guys and Dolls with Patrick? I mean, got just enlighten us. It must have. What a story!
It was. So I started with Neil. It was myself, Neil, Sally Ann Triplett, who's brilliant, and Kelly Price, and we had a lovely sort of 3 months doing our sort of stint. And then Neil was leaving to go and do something else. And suddenly we heard that we were being joined by somebody quite famous. And then Patrick walked in one day and we were all like, jaws hit the floor. Like, no, is that really Patrick Swayze? Is he really going to join us on stage? And he was the most quiet, unassuming gentleman.
Yeah.
He was so lovely. He did like to do his little hip wriggle just for the audience, the little bit of dirty dancing in there.
Brilliant.
But what was the shame was he didn't really dance as Nathan.
No.
So, you know, you had him and me on stage and neither of us were dancing.
That's hilarious.
I didn't dance as Guy and he didn't really dance as Nathan. But
two of the most iconic dances probably in film as well. Do you know what I mean? It's absolutely brilliant.
He was great. He was lovely. And, you know, luckily, I think he probably was already ill when we were doing the show, but I don't think he even knew at that point because he died, I think, only a year and a half or 2 years later. And yeah, it was really sad. But yeah, what an experience to be on stage with him every night.
Yeah.
And yeah, just a lovely, genuine guy. And that's what I love about our business. We're surrounded by people who have these kind of iconic, there's always an iconic image of them of what they're going to be like, but actually they're just lovely people and they just love love working, love doing the work and entertaining. And
absolutely. I mean, I can attest that. I remember when I found out I was working with you, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to work with Adam Cooper. I was really like starstruck at first. Like, oh my God, it's Adam. I'd seen you in Swan Lake, and I'd seen
that didn't last long, Andy, did it?
No, it didn't last long. But you yourself, you are, such a genuinely lovely guy, and you're approachable and lovely, and it's wonderful that we get to share the stage with these wonderful people.
Yeah.
Day in, day out. It's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I think that's probably a good place to leave it.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, that's
Thank
great.
You. So when is since Singin in the Rain is running to which it's only about
5th of September.
5th of September. Lovely.
And then it's going to be on tour in the UK next year.
Next year on tour.
I am hopefully doing some of the dates, but that will be sort of announced in the next few months.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Adam. That's wonderful. Adam Cooper, everyone.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Musical Talk. To find out more about the world of musical talk, you can visit our website at musicaltalk.co.uk, where you'll find all our episodes, or you can listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. Please follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Musical Talk.